We are on.
For my lesson.
We are ready when you are, Bill. I got us going on everything.
All right, let's get the show on the road. Call this meeting to order of DeKalb County Commissioners. The date is June 20, 2022. Good morning, Dottie.
Good morning. Hey, let's quickly go over the our work comp claims. We had 2 fall off this past month, and with very little. Well, actually, we didn't pay anything on those. They were just record onlys, so those are easy. But we do still have 6 on, and the oldest one is from February of 2020. And then we have another one from October of 2020 that's still going on. We have 2 that are people who are former employees. They are still on because the incident happened while they were employees. So anyway, so that's only 6. Let's see, we have 1 that was, well, let's see, 2 were with Community Corrections, and 3 with the Sheriff's Department, and 1 is with Sunny Meadows. So not bad, really, in the great scheme of things. So, but the money, you know, that's some of the big things. We've of those 6, we have paid $118,000. There's still outstanding about $108,000 on those 6 claims. So that IPEP is taken care of. And that was a question in my my HR network this week. Somebody was asking about work comp carriers, and the overwhelming, company was IPEP, and just how well that they treat their customers, and the customer service that they have, and staying in touch. So it's good to know. That's kind of a confirmation. So we get that. Hiring. The Extension Office hired somebody for that clerk position to be determined when she will start. And our Systems Department offered, and it was accepted for the jail position. So we're thinking that person will be starting July the 5th. Community Corrections asked me to take down the postings for their residential facilitators because they are fully staffed, and they have a little bit of a pool of resumes to look at. So they're happy about that. The residential director will start this week, and the case manager will start this week. So fingers crossed and knock wood and all that other, stuff. Okay, I know I said it out loud. The Sheriff's Department, of course, has openings, approximately 10. And the assessor's office has had an opening, but the assessor just hadn't, filled it. So she asked me last week to go ahead and post for this clerk position. And we're getting a lot of resumes for that position as a clerk.
The assessor's office?
Yep.
That's to replace,
What was her name? Jessica. She was,
oh, okay.
yeah. So she's been gone several months. So Sheila just hadn't, maybe because of the election, maybe, and then finally getting back into it. So, yeah. So that's what's going on that way. Health plan enrollment, we have approximately 40 employees who haven't gotten information back to me. Some of those are individuals who were on vacation last week. They contacted me beforehand. They got a preliminary thing to me, but we're not complete. And not everyone is as thorough and complete as you guys at getting me information. So sometimes I have to run down, and like yesterday when I stopped at the jail to pick up, the packets of information and go through it, and it's like, So you're thinking you have all these complete forms, and yet you have to go back and ask for another form that wasn't, completed right or something. So anyway, we're making progress on that. Teresa's happy. Well, she's that I keep throwing them at her so that she can get them into the payroll system. And it's been rather interesting. We've had an awful lot of employees. We've never had this before. On the Best Flex, the 125 plan. That's the IRS code that offers the opportunity to have your premiums deducted from your pay before taxes, or you could have them after taxes, but we are having an awful lot of people ask for it after taxes, which is really interesting. And
Dottie, maybe because they want to claim it at the end of the year and then get a refund. It's kind of like a savings account, but
exactly.
I never understood that
that
idea. But so that they're actually wanting it after taxes.
Yeah. So a lot more than we ever have. So
That's
Teresa has had to get with Lau and ask how to get that into, where it is in the system, because we've not really had to use that before. And last but certainly not least, the survey. We did a beta last week. Carolyn worked on that, and we think we're live. We just want to make sure that the questions per that, and I didn't bring it with me this morning, that we discussed last week. Those are all the questions that you would like to have on that survey. And then, to whom will this survey go? To all employees with a county email address, which leaves out anyone at Sunny Meadows or anyone at the Highway Department. 2 questions.
Highway doesn't have email?
The guys in the field do not have a county email address because they do not have.
It really doesn't pertain to them anyway.
Right, exactly. So we don't have to worry about that. And we really don't have to worry about Sunny Meadows.
No,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
But everybody at the Sheriff's Department, everybody at Community Corrections, everyone at Central has a county email address. So would we like to leave those departments out of it?
Even though go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You started.
Even though the hours question isn't relevant, I would certainly like to have the information on those other questions. I think that's relevant.
Could it be modified to the other questions be answered, but maybe not the hours for the ones that the hours don't affect? Because I hate to have someone that isn't affected by hours or opine, but I would like to know what they think on other questions.
Yeah.
Is that possible to do?
I will check with Carolyn.
Okay.
I can't imagine that it couldn't.
I know it's a little extra work, but I'd like to keep it clean.
Yeah.
I think that's a good
Right,
idea.
yeah, it's just 2 different, yeah.
And if you take that a step further, I would suggest maybe handing that out in paper to the Highway Department guys and let them fill it out anonymously and turn it in.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And Sunny Meadows, yes. Okay. Yeah, I think we can do that. They'll be happy. All right. So that is quickly what we have on my agenda. Lindsay will be back this morning. She faxed me her, or scanned me her negative COVID test. So she should be back in the office with a mask this week. So, yay.
So is Carolyn creating this survey herself? Or are they using,
I don't know what they're using.
did they find? Okay.
Yeah, they found something, but I don't know what I don't know what it is. It's maybe Google something or Microsoft something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's Google
Yeah.
and Doodle and Survey Monkey. And
Yeah, Survey
half a dozen.
The
Monkey-
Survey Monkey was
Costs.
expensive, extremely expensive.
Yes.
Oh, well, we don't want to use that.
Yeah. yeah.
Right, and that was the last I had talked with IT, and so I wasn't
I
sure.
think Doodle's like free. On those-
Yeah,
on those
I don't know
small
what
ones,
she used, but yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, I've got plenty on my platter this week for with the health plan, getting that, and then after we get everybody's stuff, then we have to, of course, make sure that Anthem has all of the correct information. So that'll be a double check. So anything for me?
Todd, anything for Dottie? Mike?
No,
All right.
I do not have
Nobody.
anything.
Wow.
I know. Yeah, I talked fast.
I can't even make up anything.
Really? Really? We've got, I told Lindsay, she took copious notes with Lauren, which is great, but we're just going to start from scratch today. And because, after a week of not being in the office, we'll just start from scratch. So anyway, that's, you guys know where I am.
Okay.
All righty.
Thanks, Dottie.
Thanks.
Have a good day, Dottie.
That was quick.
We just set a record.
I know.
How about that?
Oh,
Write it down.
Yes, write it down.
Sounds like we're getting some employment opportunities filled. Maybe the
Yes,
labor
and-
market's
yeah.
loosening up a little bit.
Getting a little better. If you
I
can
mean,
get
if you-
somebody in that surveyor's office now, that would be,
Yeah.
that's going to be the real
It's
challenge.
going to be a real tough one.
Yeah. We'd have to pay them more than we pay the surveyor to get somebody, maybe.
Yeah,
Somebody really qualified
yeah.
to do the job well. But I don't know. We'll keep stumbling along, I guess, over there. We are making some headway, some progress.
Yeah.
but-
A little worried it's going to end up being just him and Michelle in the office. But we'll see.
We'll see.
I know Bill's been actively looking.
Is he?
Is that because they have a hard time getting along with Mike? Or are there other, I have no idea, and so I'm not suggesting anything.
There's just so many opportunities out there
Okay.
now, and with fairly substantial increases in pay and more challenges and opportunities.
Okay, well, let's jump over into claims. Everybody get a chance to go through the claims? Any problems or questions?
Not any real problems. I saw we had a windows dressing bill for a few grand that was paid out.
Is that sheriff?
No, it
remember
said,
which,
it said window dressings, and I'm sorry, I was more of just a comment than anything. I didn't know what that was about. Had it here. Should have screenshotted it. I was going through this. It's not a big issue.
that's right. If I can log into financial and just look up the vendor, it'll be easier.
Yeah.
I missed that one. Didn't see that one.
Yeah. I thought it was labeled as, there was a few that I thought was maybe mischaracterized as far as its expense account, but you probably have your own system in my mind when I look at an expense and,
So windows dressing was the was what it was called, or that was the vendor?
That was what the item was that we paid for was window treatments, I think. I thought that was interesting. Hell darn it, where's the claims? Leanne sends those, doesn't she? Here they are. See if I can find it real quick. We spend a lot on uniforms, don't we?
Yeah.
Uniforms.
See here. Another thing I found interesting, vehicle maintenance service.
It's,
Auto Glass MD, like medical doctor, $1,000. Wondering did we have some windows busted out of a vehicle or something? I'm wondering.
You know what?
Yeah, I can
department
tell you, I
you're
got it
under?
here in front of me. What do you want, the claim number or? Under vehicle maintenance and repair service.
Do you know which department?
Yeah, it would be, I'm sorry.
sheriff.
Sheriff?
Well, it's under Commissioner's Report, General, Sheriff, yes.
Okay.
Sheriff, yes.
So is the window treatment.
Are they both under window Yeah, there they are, yeah. Oh, it was only $440, I'm sorry.
Like I say, I did catch that.
Yeah. But the auto glass, the only reason I ask about that, if that was a windshield, or I'd like to know, we have Indiana Auto Auction do windshields for anywhere from $160 to $225. Now, if it's a special side glass or something, that's really expensive. I'm just curious who they're using.
So it's two windshields. It was removed and installed windshield for two different cars. Rowan and Elliott,
$1,000 though? What kind of vehicles?
500 each. They're both Chargers.
That's way too much.
They're both Chargers, but I do not know why it had to be done.
Well, and if needs done, but those can be done, Indiana Auto Auction can do those for no more than $2.25 each. So
They come up and do them.
they do them right in the parking lot. So, yeah, we need to have a discussion about that, unless they're surely not bulletproof glass or anything like that, right? Not at $1,000, I don't think. But
So,
could someone from the sheriff's office maybe contact me? Could you shoot him an email and just say, hey, I want to hook you up with a new vendor, because that's double of the going
They
rate.
have to take them down?
No, they come right here to the parking lot and
They
install
would come
them.
here and do them.
They do them they show up in 20 minutes. In a Charger, that's one of the easier cars to do.
Yeah, it's pretty common.
Some of the more expensive cars that have like lane departure and special sensors
All that
and,
stuff has to be adjusted.
yeah, but,
Windows in the window.
yeah, but for if those are Charger police cars, unless there's, it should be very easy.
Wouldn't be anything but the lights in behind them.
Yeah, that
doesn't
shouldn't-
interfere with them.
Yeah, but if we can save, as far as I can tell, if that's just two windshields, that's double of what it should cost.
okay, so the arc window treatments and tinting, that was window film purchased and installed in a cafeteria window.
Should have sent Sis to do that. She's a good window tinner.
No comment.
Anyway, I think if you could shoot, or if you want me to shoot an email, I can, but if you know someone, whoever's that, I'd just like to forward them that information and have them use them.
I will get Tika in contact with.
There you are. Yes, please do. Other than that, I'm good with stuff.
I wonder if that glass is the one that got broken out when that guy went goofy in the kitchen. On the 9th Street side.
In the cafeteria.
Well, it was auto glass, it was windshields.
No, the window treatment.
Oh, okay.
The window treatment, well, but it wasn't the window, it was just the tint,
Yeah,
and to have it installed.
quite a bit of money, but if
That
it
was
was
a
a
little
big,
pricey.
if it was a big area, I get it, or if they had to remove some, because that's you know what. But anyway, if you
Yeah, I
could,
don't
we can save some money on getting windows replaced for
I
sure.
will get Tika.
Appreciate it. Other than that, I make motion to approve otherwise, or I make a motion to approve fully, actually.
I'll second.
A motion and second to approve minutes. Any additional comments?
Wait, claims.
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 Yeah.
Yeah, approving
Claims.
claims. Got it.
Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same, motion carries.
I'll make a motion to
Now we
approve
can go for
minutes.
minutes.
And this is for both?
Yes.
The 13th and the special 16th meeting?
Right.
I will
Okay.
second approval for both of those.
I read both and will second, or well, I made the
You
motion,
made
so, I made the, well, for both, I mean, for
Yes.
both.
For both.
And then Mike said second for both.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Are there additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same, motion carries.
Let's see, all right, go away claims.
Almost. Travel.
Before we approve, can you do a running total year-to-date, what we've spent on travel? Do you have the ability to do all departments, or just, I'm just curious. Just a
We are
year-to-date.
about at the halfway mark, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm just curious what the yearly.
Do you want me to also include the webinars without travel?
I'm sorry?
Do you want me to include the webinars without travel account for the
No.
registrations, or just?
No, I just the actual physical travel, if you have it.
So as of today, 60,722.38.
60,000, okay. Is there any,
And that wouldn't include any reimbursements that we will have to do for that national trip. It might have the registrations in there,
for reimbursements?
like food.
I thought those were, we approved the food in the.
Yes, but they have to travel and provide us receipts before we give it to them.
It's
Oh,
not
So it should be
calculated
some,
yet.
so this is just what's been dispersed so far?
Yes, this is just what has been paid
Yeah,
out.
because there's quite a bit there on, that Nashville trip is, now, are the registration fees for Nashville in there? Because those have probably already been paid, correct?
Yeah, they should be,
Yeah.
yes.
Because those were pretty hefty. Those were $800 a whack.
And
if I
it should
remember.
also have most of the hotel for down there, because we had to send,
A lot of that they already had covered though,
Yeah,
from the grant.
from
And-
grants, yeah,
And public defender gets 40% of theirs back and so forth, so.
yeah.
So
I'm
that's
just-
not a net number, but
Yeah, I'm just curious to see what the, end of the year, I'd like to see what it is after net numbers and just reimbursements and stuff. Just curious, but I'd make a motion to approve travel.
I'll second that one too.
very motion. Are there additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carries. Okay, council, commissioner meeting topics, written report only going forward.
yes, I was instructed to let you guys know that at the council meetings, they want a written report only, and they do not want you in attendance.
Oh, really?
They'll never have a question, will they?
It has to do with, well, they will, but it has to do with so much public interaction being able to be done. I don't want to say public interaction, but like
Topic.
off topic, yes.
I think that can
To
be.
you guys during a council meeting that we try to get so much done in, is where it's coming from,
What
possibly.
I was told was, I mean, us being there isn't the problem, but they don't want to have a discussion,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I find that interesting. I get the point that they want to stay on topic, and that's the chairman's job, is to throw the gavel when we're out of order, but how are we doing? There's things that pop up and questions that pop up. I can't imagine that in a public meeting, we're not allowed to, yeah.
Well, I think you can be there. I just don't know that it would be, I don't know that there will be an actual conversation.
They don't.
You'd have to
and
talk with
I think
Rick.
this was the suggestion of their attorney, is they don't want to have a agenda item that's a discussion or a report. Obviously, if there are questions and we're there, they can ask those. But
Okay,
they don't want to have an item on the agenda
okay.
for that discussion. And I know.
I'll get more
Don made a couple-
clarification.
Don made a couple of comments during the last meeting about discussion about things that had nothing to do with council, and taking up a lot of
Well,
time. So.
that was them though initiating the discussion, not us. In other words,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
would say, hey, this is what we'd like to do, and they'd say, well, you need to build it this way, or you need to, and Don's like saying, no, you just fund it if you want to fund it, but they're telling you what they want. I listened to that conversation. I think it's they don't want to answer questions. We would never tell them they can't come in here and grill us on stuff. I mean, come
I will
on.
seek clarification I just text Rick and said I need further clarification on the logistics, and I will get back with you guys.
Okay, I'd like to know
I
more
was only,
too.
I was just asked that to provide a written report only.
Messenger.
No, I get it.
You're just a messenger, we understand.
So I don't know.
You know, and that's one of the.
Just a messenger.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I'm struggling with in this. I'm used to running a business to where if you have a issue, you call everyone in and say, let's hammer this out. You know, we only meet once a week. They only meet once a month. So if we have some ideas that need pushed through, they either have to call a special session or handle it then and have open discussion. So if we're gonna limit our discussions even further, it's gonna be really tough to get stuff done, you know?
Well, but that's just the way government works. You have same problem with the city. You can't,
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of that stuff can't be discussed ahead of time unless you talk to people
Well, that's-
individually, which is,
That's what I'm saying. We need that opportunity at the meeting to say, hey, let's discuss that. If they're gonna limit us further, it's gonna take us forever to build this highway department.
I wouldn't be in favor of that one bit.
I just
Come
think
in and
it
have a
takes,
conversation and, you know, just not, in my mind, that's not gonna happen.
well, and again, that gives, like, you're being as the president of this, organization here, you're able to throw that gavel and say, hey, you're out of line, let's move forward. And I think they could do the
But
same
we're
thing.
out
if
of
we-
time, you know,
Yeah,
I've
if we
done
get-
that at times.
And I get their
We're
point,
up
but-
against the clock, and, you know, if it's okay for the chair to drag the meeting out, but it's not okay for somebody else to drag the meeting out, that's not right,
Right,
you know?
right,
You ought to stay, I'm just saying,
yeah, okay,
what's good for one's good for the other.
yeah. Well, I
It's
just,
not good for one is not good for the other.
I don't think it shows good cooperation to say written report only, keep your mouth shut in our meeting. I just
Yeah,
have a
no.
problem with that, but we'll see.
I will find out.
I'd like further clarification, because I don't think that's the full
I am
clarification.
seeking that right now.
Thank you.
seeking and seeking. I think we all ought to be working together.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Okay.
All right.
Shall be in touch.
We'll let Susan be the mediator.
Here you are.
I can do that.
We'll give Susan the gavel.
I had it once at one of my budget meetings, and I scared the crap out of Alan Middleton.
All right, let's go on down to the BZA appointment. What do we got?
I'm still working on that.
Okay.
I've had two people tell me thanks, but no thanks, and so I had emailed a couple of people in the county for recommendations, haven't gotten anything back yet.
Wasn't Tammy Fink one of them?
No,
Or was she, no, wait, she's going to Community Corrections
right, oh,
Board.
yeah, the community corrections.
Okay, yeah, that's right. All right.
You got any recommendations, Todd?
I really don't.
How often do they meet? Once a month?
No, they
As
meet
required?
As needed.
As
Yeah,
needed,
just
that's
as
what I was
needed.
thinking. Let me do a little poking around.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, let me do a little poking around also, Mike.
Is that a paid position or is it voluntary?
No, I think that's.
They're paid.
I think they're,
Per meeting?
$70 a meeting. I
Okay,
think.
all right.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was that.
And what knowledge would a person need for BCA? I mean, what would be good? would knowledge of real estate and property division and rules or,
That's helpful, but BCA is a quasi-judicial organization, which is way different than Plan Commission or any of the other commissions we have. So the rules are different, and really it's more of a common sense and deliberative. You know, you listen to all sides of the issue and deliberate and make a decision, whereas the Plan Commission makes decisions based on a narrow set
There
of
you are.
narrow set of criteria, because you can only decide based on what's in front of you and how it fits into the UDO and so forth. BZA has a much broader scope that they work with. So you really want somebody who would be willing to understand the issues and the petitions that come before the board, and then be able to deliberate.
so it's more of a use your discernment type board. In other words, whereas like you said, plan, you're following certain rules, this is how it goes, and then if someone wants to challenge it, they go to appeals and say, and then that person has to use discernment and say, wait, does this really fit the flow of what's going on? And,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense, all right.
Yeah.
Let me think of someone
More
there.
of a judgment.
Yeah, judgment call.
Chris a message while you guys were talking, and he just said to have an interest in planning.
Okay,
Okay.
all right,
That's helpful too.
yeah. Cool.
Okay. Community Corrections Board appointments. We got 2.
Okay, so I was super confused on this because I only show that we had 2 coming to expire. Then Michelle sent us this list of 7 people, and so I sent her the list I had and asked her about it, and so she has sent me back and gave me her board roster that has many more people than what I knew about. She said some of the positions were already vacant and needed filled. She does not know when Dustin Scheib left the board. He left prior to her arrival, which is we have decided to move Steve Smith from the position of layperson to ex-offender where Dustin left, leaving 2 layperson positions needing filled. For the mental health designee, Mr. Yost will be retiring, and therefore his position needed to be filled with a new appointee. For our perspective, we are not adding any additional new positions on the board, but are simply filling or replacing existing positions. And I wasn't questioning her adding. I was just like, can you help me understand my
there's so
list
many?
to your list?
Yeah.
So if you guys are good with her list that she provided, I will just update our information so we actually have matching lists with correct expiration dates and all of that. However you want to do it.
Who determines the number of people on that board? Is that in there?
That's statutory.
Is this? This is a lot of people.
Well, and
Well-
those are just ones up for reappointment. There are more on it.
Oh, yeah. Well,
We have-
the state wrote the statute, so go figure, right?
Oh, say no more.
It's, I've never liked boards of that size because it's difficult to.
There's 24
Yeah,
positions.
yeah, it's just, yeah, probably half that would have been sufficient. Especially if, people that have some knowledge, what they're, some common sense. Anyway, so we need to get the comparable list. We need to act on that.
Well, she had,
List.
You got, so go, okay.
She had,
She's
she
already talked to
just,
everybody on it and got their.
yeah, she has just, those that needed to be filled or were expiring or somebody left. She's already given us that list, so these are the only ones that we need to approve now. And then I will make our actual list that I have like
Okay,
And the
of
exec,
appointments.
the Community Corrections Board Exec Committee's already vetted out everybody and approved them too. So they've all agreed, and I don't see anything controversial. So I would move that we approve the appointments that Michelle suggested.
have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the same. Motion carries.
I'm guessing, as I'm looking at what Jan had for us, I'm guessing the reason why I only see the 9 is because those are the only positions that you guys have. But I'll
Okay,
get it all together so we can see what's happening.
okay. Sunny Meadows May report. Around to you, gentlemen. We'll look through that. We'll come back to
First
that.
here while I'm catching up with my.
Let's go on down while we're going over the Sunny Meadows report, the horse-drawn buggy ordinance, and I apologize, Jim, I didn't get back to you this week.
I didn't hear from anybody,
This
so
week
you've got
was,
company. And I just need some direction is all, to
Yeah.
know of the, because I forwarded all the ones that either I've received or Ben has received. And some of them are pretty well done, and it just is a matter of the commissioners deciding which aspects of each of those is important enough for you to include in an ordinance. And I'll get it done, I just didn't have enough information.
Yeah, and just a couple of things I had thought about this morning, and that is the fee, and I think that needs to be pretty adequate, I should say, because they pass these back and forth between all their
Yeah, and
budgets.
if you noticed, I sent several ordinances going back in time from LaGrange.
Yeah,
The county attorney there is, I know him, and he's a good attorney, and he's been very cooperative with stuff. They just made a decent-sized increase in their fees. And so that's something for sure to take a look at before next week.
I'd forgotten, what did they increase to?
Was it 200? I'm not sure.
No, well, maybe it was that, maybe they went up from 100 to 200.
I know there was a 200
Yeah,
in one of those somewhere.
yeah.
And now I remember there was a 200, that's why I said that.
Seems like wasn't there a 400 in there somewhere?
That I don't remember.
I don't remember that for sure.
I'll start looking through.
I think we definitely want to include some lighting requirements in there.
Yeah.
Because of the,
That was the comments I would make, lighting on the front and the back. High, and probably, I see them down low, and I don't think that's adequate.
no.
I think they need-
Elkhart County is only $50.
Yeah, that's not, I'm thinking at least 200,
I would agree.
at least. And lighting front and
They do
back,
some damage.
60 inches off the ground, or,
Right?
They can do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Oh,
Our
yeah.
road.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. 200 may not be enough.
Ought to light up the horse too.
Christmas lights.
Put red,
I've seen it.
on it. No, I'm thinking lighting front and back, at least 60 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
Because they moving so slow, you go over a hill, and you need to see them sooner than,
Yeah,
because these lights down here, I see some of them maybe 24 inches off the ground. I don't think that's as effective enough, but
At the speeds they're going, it'd be nice to have it elevated a little.
yeah.
You can come up on them.
LaGrange in 2004, I haven't gotten to more recent ones, was $80.
I think a minimum of 200, maybe more.
I know I saw 200 somewhere.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Ben had sent some too.
I forwarded the Ben ones as well.
Oh, okay.
Here's one from 2017 that took it up to 100.
I'm going to suggest 2 1/4.
Quit looking.
But of course, the lighting, front and back, at least 60 inches off the
Was that now?
lighting front and back, at least 60 inches off the ground. Or whatever suggestions anybody else has. It doesn't have to be that particularly, but
That's probably a pretty good number.
that's a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's a start, thank you.
It's a start. Okay. All righty, Sunny Meadows report.
I'll move that we acknowledge receipt of the May Sunny Meadows report.
Second.
A motion and a second. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries. All right.
That is the same type of motion I need for the jail inspection report. Did you guys get to see that? Mm-hmm. You want to do it real quick, or did you guys have stuff you want to talk about?
No, I read it. Did you read it, Bill?
I sure did.
If you have more to talk about, we can go on to Lita. I just was,
Yeah, we got,
you know, I like to
I
move
just got
things
a
around.
question on the very last question. The community corrections program under the supervision of the community corrections program under the supervisions of the sheriff, the county judges are contracted? And there's no answer on that question.
What page you on?
Very last one.
Very last
Oh, yeah, 15.
What was the question again, Bill?
Is the community corrections program under the supervision of the sheriff, county judges,
Oh.
or contracted?
None of the above. It's under the
Board.
actually under probation
Under, yeah,
and the advisory board, which again is statutory. So work release is under the sheriff, under the supervision of the sheriff.
right.
But the rest of it is,
So it's kind of a
Yeah.
mix.
yeah,
And that's
And
why they,
That's why the answer-
Commissary is under the sheriff,
right, yeah.
yeah,
both.
That brings up another point, if you don't mind, real quick, on
Sure.
the canteen or whoever it is that's taking over the food. If I'm reading that correctly, that's a screaming deal. $2.80 per meal per person per day. That's, call it $9 per person, 90 people.
You can't staff, and
You can't staff it for that.
I think that's why Steuben County has been using it.
yeah.
Unless they go crazy on their pricing, I'd keep that permanent. I wouldn't even, well, that's up to the sheriff, but I would strongly, I'll talk to Brady and say, hey, analyze this, because if they truly supply the food, I read the contract, they do minor cleanup, mopping of the floor, they supply the help, and all they ask is a couple jailers help them just move the food to the,
Which that,
No.
I mean, that's a given.
yeah.
now if the elevator goes down and they have
Yeah.
to carry them upstairs, then we may get a price increase.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like I said, it's a
Canteen
deal.
does so many of those meals, and I mean, they've got it down to a science.
Yeah.
You can't possibly do it inexpensively.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I mean, what's it cost just for don't you pay $16, $17 an hour for anyone right now, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, then
Does,
benefits.
now does the matron's job, I assume that still stays on, the matron?
No idea.
That's something I'd like to have that discussion with. I assume you'd have to have someone in charge of it, but
They gotta order
does it
the
need to be a
food.
full matron though?
Because I was wondering, who orders the food?
Canteen.
They'd handle it all.
They do
Canteen
everything.
Take care of
handles it
all.
all.
You don't have to touch a thing.
We wouldn't have to deal with Aunt Millie's and that contract and all that. You just let them handle it. Except for maybe commissary stuff like I assume that it would still have to be,
Toiletries and snacks and stuff.
Yeah.
It would still
That's-
fall under commissary.
Yeah, and that's all different.
but that's easy. I don't know, I just thought it was a deal.
You want to pick
guys.
it back up after Lita?
I'm sorry?
You want to pick us back up after Lita's
Yeah,
done?
yeah,
and
sure.
We'll go through that some more.
Yeah.
Okay, Lita, you are up. Come grab a microphone, pull it up close, because it's going to identify you, because you're on candid camera. So you. And,
My county recorder. Two things I wanted to touch on today. One is
Is your
the.
mic on?
Is now.
Thank you.
Sunny Meadows Cemetery. I have talked to, I've talked to Don Pearson about having who is mowing the Sunny Meadows property now to go down and mow it. It can be mowed high, but I had a guy come in and bush hog it because the fence isn't going up for about 4 to 5 weeks. Fence will go up. Once the fence goes up, then the dirt will be hauled in to get it leveled off and seed will be put down. But until then, we got to keep it mowed down. I talked to the council liaison, Bob Kraft, about that. He feels that's the way it should go. He would just ask Don to add money to his budget to cover for mowing that. Wanted to see what your thoughts are on that. Do we hire somebody different? Once the project's done, I'm done. But until it's done, we got to keep it mowed down because it looks like we're going backwards. So, and the guy that's mowing for Sunny Meadows, from my understanding, doesn't do any weed eating or anything. So the ditch needs to be weed eated, the front of it. So I need some direction on what the commissioners want to do.
well, I know the highway department mows the mound, has mowed the mound out there, the septic area. But they may not do that often enough to satisfy the requirements for the cemetery. I'm not sure. Unless we instructed them to do that, but I don't know how Ben would,
Well, and it's
Except
not, it wouldn't take anyone more than 15 minutes with a regular mower to
Yeah.
go over it. It's a square, all the stumps have been removed. You know, you might have to dodge a couple of groundhog holes, but that'll be a moot point when we get the dirt hauled in. But it just needs to be, and so they were gonna ask him to do that. I haven't been out to check and see if he actually got it done. He should have done it last week.
were you thinking this is going to end up being a weekly?
I don't think they have to mow it weekly, if they can just, every other week, if he could just go out, and it doesn't have to be mowed real low right now. Once we get the dirt in, he won't mow anymore until we get grass growing. And then I don't know if we need to contract separately with him to do the cemetery, or does it still, you know, Bob Kraft feels it should still be part of the Sunny Meadows budget.
Yeah, I guess I would say include it in their budget and mow as needed, get a separate price for that particular parcel. And when it's needed, he mows it, and I suppose at his discretion or Don's.
That's what I'd recommend
No
too.
more than every other time.
Right.
Yeah.
But it makes sense to whoever's doing the mowing for him now. they
It's
go
right
ahead
down
and
the
let him do
road,
it,
so
yeah.
it's not a
Right
big
now,
deal.
the rough mowing, I'm not sure he can do it with the finish mower. In the meantime, till they get that grass growing.
if you would raise your deck clear up.
You think
it
that would work?
Yeah, because they've bush hogged it down, so, but,
Most of the stuff's,
They gotta
junk
stay
is
on
cleared
it.
out of there anyway, they're not gonna hit anything.
no, everything's been cleared out, so they're not gonna hit anything.
Yeah.
The stumps are down,
Yeah.
so there's nothing there they're gonna hit.
We tell them if it hits 6 inches, hit it, or if it, or like Mike said, every other time or something.
Something like that.
Right now, it's not
Of course, the
growing
weather's
as
gonna-
fast.
Just use his discretion, I guess, would be the best, instead of going out there with a ruler, you know, say, hey, looks high, let's hit it. you know?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Biggest thing is just to keep it down so it's not getting 12, 14 inches high.
Yeah.
And then it's not, it'd have to be cut. And
Yeah.
the gentleman that bush hogged it says, I'm not doing it anymore. I mean, he hasn't charged us anything for taking the stumps out. He mowed it the first time.
Pull
He
my
come
trailer
back
and
through
get
and
my
mowed it this
mower
time because I asked him. And he finished taking the stumps out. So I've I've exhausted his assistance.
Yeah, okay, let's go with the as needed and the same guy
Okay.
give us a separate price on that parcel, and when it's needed, he can mow it and add that onto the bill and just go
Yeah.
with that.
Okay. Second thing I have today is the progress that we're doing in the recorder's office. The carpet is completely down, or the new carpet is down. Looks great. I just talked to the painter. He'll start either the end of this week or the beginning of next.
Oh,
One thing I did, and it kind of happened before I knew, I should have come and saw you before, but, I did it and now I'm gonna ask. The cabinetry fronts, I don't know if a lot of offices they either have the burgundy or they have the blue cloth on front of the upper cabinets, or their tack boards or whatever. And it's old. Instead of replacing the whole cabinet fronts, I went and found material like what was on it, only more updated, and my staff and I tore them apart and reupholstered them. Actually, for less than $100.
oh, well,
Where was this at? What part of the
The
cabinets?
cabinets, a lot of people have the cabinets above their desks.
Oh, okay.
The lids, the fronts pull
I got ya,
out and slide
yeah.
in. Well, those are covered in fabric,
I got you.
usually the burgundy or the blue. That's not, they're old. There's none in the basement that I could bring up and swap out for whether they're gray or whatever. So, we tore them apart
Okay.
and reupholstered them.
Okay.
You can stop in and look at them.
Yeah.
My question is, if I turn in receipts for that and do a claim, is there a way I could get reimbursed for those? For the fabric going on? It's gonna stay, it'll be here,
You're not gonna take it with you?
forever. Not likely.
Is there tax on it?
I'll eat it,
I say
I'll
that's
eat
the
the
only
tax.
thing that I wouldn't be able
Right, I
to,
know.
would be the tax.
how much
Yeah.
was it? 100?
and I'll eat it. Total would be, let's see here. I'll get you a total on it. The fabric itself was, the fabric itself, 5 yards I got for $74.15. And then the adhesive to apply to hold it down was $9.59, so $83.74.
I can come up with that somewhere, can't we?
Oh, yeah.
Out of maintenance courthouse. That's a big one, though.
I know. I watched for it on
Budget.
sale. I tried to be,
Yeah.
I think,
It's fine.
definitely.
Motion,
I don't know.
I'll move that we, oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know if you need the motion. She just needs to submit the claim and then you'll approve the claim when we do.
The claim, just, okay.
Okay,
She was just
All right.
okay.
bringing it to your attention.
I'm good with that.
And I want to brag on my office. They unloaded over 600 plat jackets, which hold about 4 plats apiece, 4 to 8. We moved the cabinets. We moved all the other heavy stuff, got those placed, and we cleaned, all the mini blinds have been cleaned. I pulled in a 14-year-old girl, and she climbed up and cleaned all the mini blinds, which, if you want summer help, I think we need the mini blinds cleaned to the courthouse. Obviously, they had not been done for many, many years. My staff came in, cleaned down cabinets to the point they had mud running down their arms. So hats off to my staff, and it's looking nice, so.
That's much appreciated, Lena, for you to take that initiative
So-
and make sure that that stuff gets done, I think. Appearances are important, and
Well, I feel that office is because we are the first stop when people come in the courthouse and want to know, what office do I go to? We have a lot of walk-in traffic that we direct to other departments. And so I feel it's very important that that office has a good impression.
Yeah, it's important that they all,
It's important they all do.
they were
That's
let
right,
go too long, too far, and we're committed to fixing it.
Right.
And
our
we're getting
interactions,
close to,
So,
our
yes, the
interactions with
recorder's
the
office is
public
closed.
should be professional, look professional, and
Absolutely.
we need to deliver
Right.
that kind of service, so.
I assume you
Thank
got your colors picked out. I guess I don't remember.
Yes, if you stop down,
got
we
the
have in the
samples.
back room a color palette around one of the windows. And we've got it narrowed down, so yes.
Good deal, good
So,
deal.
But I wanted to give hats off to my staff because they have went over and above.
Well, tell them we truly
lot.
appreciate them.
I will tell them.
Pass that on to them. Okay.
All right.
Anything else?
That'll do it.
Thank you, Lita.
All right, thank you.
Have a good day and a good week.
Lita, just make the claim out and throw it in my basket and I'll take care of it. Thank you.
Okay, we still got some time. Let's jump back to that discussion of the food, the meals for jail. And he has signed that, right? Sheriff has signed that.
He did, but I informed them that it was not
Official.
official until the commissioners actually assigned. I informed Tika, she said, I
On that-
understand.
that
However,
was-
they started it yesterday.
That was for a year, so that gives us a really good trial run on that and gives Brady 6 months basically under
That's what it
his,
looks like.
to try it out. So I think that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I was shocked. I figured it'd be $5 or $6 a meal with labor and food.
Yeah, preparation.
And I thought, okay,
Oh, that's right down there with school lunches, really.
it's really right into school lunch range. And so they obviously get good buying power, being they do this everywhere. And I just think the efficiencies and I just think it's a no-brainer. I would encourage him to analyze the results. If they do a good job, to stick with them.
Absolutely. And with the job market being what it is now, anything that we can take off
Oh, yeah.
of having to worry about keeping staff or
Yeah.
hiring people.
Especially in today's,
We're way ahead of the game.
It's,
today's,
it's funny too, if you read the contract, it says DeKalb County agrees not to poach our employees. So, they've obviously had that problem in the past, but
yeah. Well, I can't blame them.
no, I just
Especially
I thought that
nowadays.
was funny. Why would I poach your employees if you're gonna do it cheaper than weekend? Go ahead.
Since the sheriff has already signed that contract, you're gonna be wanting to approve it, but I think not only should you approve it, but ratify him having signed.
Okay.
They can't just sign this and
They can, sure.
I
And
would,
that's probably a better precedent.
I
I'll
would-
amend what I said. Just you as commissioners approve it and sign it.
Okay.
And that's the one that will be submitted to the vendor, the company. That's a better idea, Jane.
Motion?
all right.
I'll make the motion to sign the agreement with Canteen Services for meals for the jail for a 1-year term.
Second.
A motion and a second. Are there additional comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries.
Okay, so the inspection report,
The jail, that's what I was just gonna ask you.
I need a
Acknowledge
motion.
receipt.
Yeah, motion and second to acknowledge receipt of that inspection.
Motion.
Got it.
Second.
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Got it.
Okay, motion and a second and 2 ayes. We'll make it 3 ayes.
3 ayes.
Oppose? Same? No opposition. Okay.
Claims to sign. Did you guys see the separate email I sent this weekend about the Peterson?
I did.
I don't know, I guess it's a contract.
They do that every year.
We do. Yep, we do it every year. Judy in my office, actually, we keep track and we have a huge spreadsheet of all different kinds of things. And then we send it on to them, we call them when we have questions, and they pretty much get it all together so that I have a nice little fine-tuned little page so that I know exactly what we need to be putting on our annual financial report.
Same agreement with them that we've been signing for forever and ever. And I will move that we approve the agreement with Peterson Consulting.
Second.
A motion and a second. Are there any additional comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Okay.
Sign that page, please. Yep.
Miscellaneous topics.
Well, since we were just talking about the job market, and I see Dottie just sent this over, I'd gotten the same information from Therese Brown the other day. There was some question about Allen County only doing 10 holidays on that list that we got. Well, they have 10 designated holidays, but they have 3 floating holidays that employees can use at their own discretion on top of those 10.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they do a 7.5-hour day, 37.5-hour work week. They're paying a 2% retention bonus.
Per year, just automatic?
Yeah.
So is that
Oh,
their,
no, it's, they've proposed a 2% retention
Oh.
bonus. That hasn't been approved yet. For full-time only, not part-time.
okay.
Okay. Okay.
And there were a couple other ones, I think, Steuben and Noble, some other surrounding counties that were 14 and 15 holidays too. That's pretty much the norm from discussions I've had at some of the seminars and conferences.
Well, you know, what you'll find is once you give something, it's nearly impossible to take it away. And I think that you go to take it away, I think you just cause a whole bunch of division going forward. I don't like it, but I think we're better off to concentrate on wages, leave it like it is, and when you present the wages, say, well, it's council anyway. I'm just speaking, it's their deal, but we do control the schedule.
Yeah.
And I think our input to the council is, hey, we're leaving the 13 holidays, but when you give your pay recommendation, point out to the employees everything they get, you know?
Yeah.
And spell it out, what those paid holidays are worth.
Right.
You know, what is the paid time off worth, you know, the flexibility and.
The one thing I do think, though, we can't continue 35-hour work week. At some point, we've got to fix that.
I'd agree with
And there
that.
don't seem to be any initiative on the council to do it, but
The difference is there, though, we are paying them for that, 'cause we're
Yeah.
not taking anything away, we're just asking to work more hours.
Yeah.
Whereas taking away the holidays is physically pulling money
Right.
out of their pocket, you know?
so I don't know where that's going to go with the council. It says they ain't going to do both. Guess we're
Yeah.
not going to do anything for another year at least.
Well, I know there's a consensus on the council to do some pretty substantial wage adjustments this year on the budget cycle. Now, are they,
The trouble with the wage adjustment increase, that doesn't balance the amount of time they put in order to garnish the advantage of the,
35-hour week?
you know,
Right.
perks.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good discussion as the work week. I think that has to be adjusted eventually. You know, I think,
Writing. Put it in writing. I was just joking.
yeah, I think we've went, you know, we always jump the shark as a nation as far as knee-jerk reaction on stuff. It's like the pandemic. Everyone stay home. You can never go out again. You know, no one work. And now everyone work double hard, twice as hard. It's, you know, a happy medium would be better in all our decisions. I don't want to emulate the federal government, you know, so I think that is, I agree, Bill, that the work week's got to be discussed.
Okay, anything else? Mike? Todd?
Oh, on a highway, I met with Brett Henderson and just said, give us some hard quotes on what a salt barn would cost. He looked at the prints and he said, why are you putting in these embankments inside instead of just pouring the walls up? And I said, well, I believe it's probably cheaper. He says, no, poured walls, or he says, by the time you buy those, you're paying for shipping on those, you're paying from the distributor to bring them, to set them for you. He says, you're already pouring a footer and a stub wall, telling you continue, but he's gonna quote it both ways to show us.
The difference.
Yeah, and he's his fear, he says any salt barn he's ever designed and what the state's doing, they're pouring walls. And he said, what you're gonna do is you'll find someone getting a little careless with a payloader in there someday and just bump one of the things over and one of them fall through the wall. You know, and, but anyway, he said, and again, we're not gonna take action on this quote, you know, but it gives us an idea if this estimate's close.
Yeah, and I think we should call it an estimate rather than a quote, because we don't want to run afoul here. We have to be very careful
Right.
so that this is an informational
I agree
Yeah.
with that.
exercise.
And I told him that. I said, Brett, but I want to know that this is what you could build it for, not, well, we think.
Yeah,
And that gives us gives us the ability then to, if, let's say, council says, hey, yeah, but it's still an estimate, well, then we can get additional quotes on it and build the salt barn if we want to say there. Now it's under contract, you know?
I find that very interesting about the walls compared to the bunks, because we had the conversation at our meetings with Elevitis and so forth. And in some reason, you know, they thought, well, something about the salt being against the walls. But I understand is you can treat the walls, the concrete walls, so the salt doesn't affect them.
Well, Brett mentioned a chemical or a substance that began with a C, and I can't remember the name of it, that they actually mix in with the concrete,
Yeah, something like
and
that.
it protects it, and
Yeah.
it's not that expensive.
Yeah, because we actually like the idea of the poured walls.
Yeah.
Ben and I both did.
Yeah. The problem, he said, and again, I know nothing really about concrete. He says by the time you drill those pilings in, the outside pilings, you got to pour a footer for the floor anyway, a wall that goes down to the footer to support the concrete.
Yeah.
To extend it up costs no more than putting those pilings in and buying those embankments and having them placed but let's see if he's right. And he also said, and again, I don't want to act like I'm promising anyone anything. He's just my go-to guy to get ideas.
Yeah.
And he says, Todd, I can quote this whole project. I could do this whole thing. We could get quotes on buildings. We could get different. He'd be interested in handling the whole project. But here nor there, it's just an idea. I want to just see where that estimate comes in compared to the architect's estimate. Dan Gokenauer again said there is no way that thing's a $500,000 building, and he seems to have a pretty good pulse on what stuff should cost. We'll see. I've had long emails with him, back and forth, and finally I said, we're just going around in circles here,
I had a phone conversation with him over the weekend.
I think he mentioned that. Yeah, and I think he truly cares.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just,
no doubt about that.
again, he's not sitting in the seat and hasn't been in our meetings. And I try to explain to him, hey, we come up with an idea. 3 weeks later, we have to give it to council. They say, bring us more information. We come back the next month, more info. By then, the prices went up 21%. So to say, well, here's the hard cost and, we've done all our due diligence. He talked about some kind of process that corporations do, reviews. We don't have time for that. And plus, I also made the point, and maybe I'm wrong here, guys, but I'm no construction expert, but I've done enough. I know where a good deal is. And we need to use our abilities and our business experiences, our construction experiences, and we need to be really paying attention to this project, be on site, make sure we're getting what we pay for. I do not want to duplicate what we did with community corrections. I do not want to crawl around in the attic of this new building looking
After the
for,
fact.
And the other thing I think we need to be cognizant of too is I don't want 5 years from now to say, oh geez, I wish we would have done this and this and this. We need to look out a little bit too. And it's not like the highway department is going to expand
Right.
exponentially, but we need to have,
Needs to be adequate to do the job it needs to do.
yeah.
And I agree with that, but I think we need to take a second look on that design, because I think there's some adjustments that can be made that will lower the cost.
And
And
I
I've got
agree
some
with that.
ideas already in mind that, run by Parker and you guys at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, and,
But I want to see what he says first and
yeah.
how,
Well, and that was, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, I've done 2 large projects like this, the Ace Hardware store.
Yeah.
And I built a truck garage.
Yep.
The one, what's now the Penske facility, they're on Northrop. When I was director of maintenance for Roberts Leasing, we went and built that from bare ground. And in fact, I plumbed the overhead oil delivery system and airlines and so forth. So I've done this before. I ran a big fleet of trucks.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I ran 3 shops. So, I've had a little experience with this.
Well, one of Dan's concern was he said, well, you got the cart before the horse. Ben should have told you what he needed, and then he should have had to prove it to you through whatever proof that he has. And again, it's the large I think he works for Eaton or one of them big companies.
I think he might be retired.
Oh, maybe he is. But here nor
But I
there.
know he used to work for Eaton.
Here nor there, he says, well, it's this process. He gives you this, and then you go back. And I said, well, Dan, the commissioners went with Ben to other highway departments and looked what they, and we're not any more expensive than them, and we're not building any more. What was the one you toured that you said that was the one that you didn't want to duplicate? What county was that? In other words, a beautiful shop, but it was laid out all wrong. Not all wrong, but you didn't like the way it was written.
Yeah, we learned more, what not to do.
But wasn't that a 9 million or 8 million, $9 million project?
I want to say 7.
7?
And it's been a while. I've got the notes at home.
And that was built a while ago.
Yeah,
That's
it'd be
been-
higher today.
It's
So,
been a while.
you know, if we're in at total costs of 8 million, I don't think we're out of it. What I'm just trying to tell the taxpayer here, we're not out of line compared to other counties and what they're building.
No.
And that it'd be one thing if we were building 12 bays when other counties only have 6, or if we were, you know, doing gold-plated fixtures in the restrooms or something. We're doing very minimalistic, in my opinion. And so we have had discussions. We have done our due diligence. Now, should have we put this whole project together price-wise before buying the property and selling the Auburn property? Possibly.
No.
But it was hard, but we couldn't do
How
it.
could you?
That's what I also tried to explain in the email. The hardest part of this project was securing a location. Because it has to be commercial, it can't interfere with safety, it has to be centrally located, it has to be enough acreage to do what we want. Go try to find a property like we bought in the Henderson property. Go find that property around here. We tried the County Road 34, that got met opposition. We tried to buy Mr. Klink's property, which that would have been a nightmare. Those buildings would have been torn down. They would have had no significant use.
Well, there was 2 that.
Well, I know, but the one might have been usable.
The big tall one was.
The one in the middle had no value,
Right.
and we were never gonna get anywhere with it. So we had to buy the property in order to say, now we can, because you can't even lay out your buildings until you have the property, because you don't know how they'll fit on the property. I mean, you buy a narrow, long property, you need to design buildings this way, you know?
Can, but if you decide, well, this isn't going to work, you've just wasted a bunch of money.
Yeah, that's why I say I was justifying buying the property and moving forward. We were gonna do it. Now, we've been thrown a curveball, but we have the ability to build this thing. We just gotta do it, so.
Well, once again, it was handed a circumstances we had no control over.
Right. But we do have to
just
fix
trying-
it.
We were just trying to make the best of it, and I didn't appreciate a couple comments that was made at the council meeting.
No, I agree.
You know,
I-
that's crap. You want to throw dirt. You know,
We can throw it back. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather work together and get the project done, but to say, hey, I want hard numbers to the penny and I'm not giving you anything, well, we've thrown money at projects and there's no laid out exactly what we're gonna get. It's, you know, but here nor there. Let's get it done.
We'll get her done. If they give us.
I'll let you know when those
If
estimates
they give
come in.
us the 6 million, we'll get it done. From
Nah.
hell to high water.
Yeah.
We'll do it. But,
Okay. That's all I had.
thank you. Anything else? Anyone? Susan, I see the wheels turning.
Yeah, I got multiple things coming. Okay, so I had emailed in our packet, I had received the email about that public surplus. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Am I supposed to do anything with it?
I didn't even really read it, to be honest. I skimmed it and didn't understand
So you guys look
it.
at it, because this person is, I think he's from California.
It's like getting rid of our old property, right? Yeah,
And I don't know if he somehow found minutes where we were talking about having an auction. I don't know. But he contacted the office on Thursday, I believe, and just wanted to do an online demonstration to show the power and capabilities of their system. It's all an online thing. So I was just bringing that to your attention.
Yeah, I really don't have time for that right now, but it's something that I've skimmed through and they basically want to dispose of our used property or whatever, and we can do that through Little John and ourselves, and
Okay.
so.
Then Carolyn just emailed all of you and myself. She has given you an example of, or a sample of what the survey would look like, and would like you all to let her know if that's okay. And Todd, I emailed you and Tika together so that you have
I
connections.
have
you
that too.
get.
Thank you.
And the only other thing is, Jim, is there anything that we need to talk about on this guy?
No. We got confirmation. This is the guy that hit the pole on
Oh, yeah.
11A, I think.
Yes.
And we've gotten confirmation of insurance coverage.
So do I
And
need
so
to,
they're supposed to be getting back to me. Send me a copy of that letter. Sarah's gone still this week, and I'll try and get a hold of that guy.
okay, will do.
And copy both sides of, because I think there's insurance information attached to that letter.
I'll probably just send you the email that this came in.
Yeah, that's fine. I have a few things, but whenever.
Go ahead. We got 10 minutes.
Number one, I got a letter from Daryl McConnell, and it probably should have gone to Cruz, Shannon. It should have gone to Shannon Cruz. It's fairly short, I'll just read through it. By the end of this month, the city will be closing out the Peckert Ditch Bridge and Lenora Lane Extension Project with contractor R.L. McCoy. Final remaining item is for the city to dedicate the bridge improvements over to DeKalb County so it may be incorporated into the county's bridge inventory. What procedure is necessary? What I'll probably do is have Ben get with him, or Ben and I can get with him, however that works out. As requested, R.L. McCoy will be providing DeKalb County with a 3-year maintenance bond for 10% of the construction costs, and that's what it needs to be for roads. Let me know if this will be satisfactory. I can tell him it will be, or have Ben tell him it will be. I just wanted you to be aware of that. And if
What
you,
drain was that?
what's that?
What drain was that?
It is Peckhart, Peckart, ditch, bridge,
Okay.
and Lenora Lane extension. That's where that Astral is on the
Oh, by Home
west of
Depot?
69.
And Home Depot, like connecting that way?
Yeah,
It's, yeah, west of there.
West of
Okay.
Home Depot,
yeah, west of Home Depot, correct.
probably there.
You'll be sending me any ideas you have on the horse-drawn buggy ordinance so that I can have something for you next week. Sarah will be back on Thursday, so I'll try and make sure there's time for something to get typed if I get stuff from each of you in the meantime. What? She's allowed to have days off.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We've had,
I was just thinking about you typing.
oh God, yeah, you don't want to think about that. You don't want to think about that. I just, you talk about retention of employees, you talk about higher wages, you talk about things. We've had a number of turnover, not in my office in Auburn, but in the Fort Wayne office. And they just rewrote the employee handbook and everybody gets an extra week's vacation. Because they didn't want to have to spend the extra money. They get but our wages are pretty good compared to what the county can do. I just thought that was interesting and that you might be interested in it. There was an email that came out about GeneX wanting to meet in an executive session.
Who is it?
One of the
Oh, yeah, the solar, yeah, I read that one. Yeah,
companies.
Yeah.
I would like, leading up to that meeting, the only, I had a form of contract ready on that, but it only went so far. The economic development agreement amount needs to be discussed and, for what we're gonna propose. And the other thing, and I know I talked to some of you about it, and one of you, I thought, had access to some information. The one for White County had a reference to a pilot program. And I haven't been able, I've asked a couple of attorneys who do this kind of work. I've not gotten information on a pilot program and what's involved in it. And I thought one of you told me, it might have been you, Mike, I don't know.
Thanks.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
I remember us talking about it.
and I would like to have something that I could review leading up to that, so I'm better prepared
Let
what
me,
happens.
let me see if I can come up with something.
Because you've got
like
more
that.
context than I do in any of this
Yeah, I
stuff.
know the White County Commissioners. I can reach out to them and,
Because I know what's in their ordinance,
yes.
in their economic development agreement. I just need to be able to know what we can do and what we can't do, and, okay? I would appreciate that, just, like I say, for me to be better prepared.
I know all three of the potential solar companies have kind of sample economic development agreements that they're in effect that some of the other counties are dealing with, that we should get some copies of those
Yeah.
in advance
Oh, absolutely.
too. But that's a good segue into just a thought that I had the other day. Because these are going to start popping fairly soon, I think, at least two of them. The economic development agreements with solar companies that are the size of the developments. The one with the little one out here was 245,000. These will be substantially higher than that, into seven figures,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It has been in a number of the other county ones I've reviewed, yes,
almost
he's
always
right
in-
about
In
that.
the 800 or 900 acre range. So if we are, and those economic development agreements can basically be allocated to whatever we want to allocate them, or however we want to draw up the agreement. Some of it's, sometimes they're allocated to libraries or, you name it. So that could be an additional way if, for instance, if we did a bot on the highway department, that could be a source of income to take one of the off-ramps.
I got a suggestion. I appreciate that comment. I got a suggestion. Why don't we pay cash for highway, and I'll say whatever the economic development goes, whatever money we get for that, I'll go along with whatever you guys want to spend it on.
Well, I've said all along, and I've said this 6 months, a year ago, it needs to go towards a new jail.
Well, I'm open to discussion on it, is what I'm saying. Because,
Because this thing's gonna be 1,600 to 2,000 acres.
yeah, well, what
It's gonna be a monster.
I'm saying is, we got immediate need for highway department. We're at odds how to pay for it, which is fine. This is good discussion. But it needs built. I'd say if we go to council and say, listen, we need the 6 million, but we got some economic development money coming in, I'm open to suggestion there. I just want this highway to built with cash. And I'm willing to, I don't think the jail's getting built regardless for another 6-7 years, just due to the total cost involved, regardless of the million or two that may come in on
The
that.
thing is, this, if it's done right, could get us to that point
Sure.
of where the community corrections is paid off, and then we use the jail tax to finish out the bond payments.
Remember, we can't pay off community corrections early though.
I understand.
Well, we
I'm
can-
saying, when we get to
We can
that point,
defease, we can
60
defease the bonds though.
Yeah.
The only problem with that scenario, Bill, is when community corrections when that bond is retired, there's only
9 years of special
9
lit.
years of
Yeah, but if what I'm saying is, if the solar project can take us monetarily wise to the point that all we need is that 9 years of that tax to finish off, or to take the bond on through, or however it's done is time-wise.
I agree with that.
And I understand, yeah, there's only gonna be 9 years left, but that's why we need the solar money up front to get to that point.
Yeah.
I'm not
And if
just,
there's an
I'd have to run-
excess,
I'd have to run the numbers. I'm not sure that we
Yeah.
can get there on that.
I'm not disputing that. What I'm disputing is need highway department now. We know we're up against opposition, how to fund it. let's throw a carrot out there and say, I'm open to talks on this solar money, but we gotta get the highway department done, because I don't think the jail, I don't think even with what you're saying, the millions that'll come in, I'm telling you, this jail project right now, if we were to put it to paper, is probably 40 to 45 million somewhere, and
And to do the jail project off of that is it's probably 2 years away anyway, even to
Yeah.
start,
yeah.
because
Oh,
they're talking a while to get this thing completed as far as the solar project.
First thing we're gonna be talking to council about is a jail cume fund. And we ought to be talking about how we get some money into that. And then if the solar thing goes that direction, that can go in the cume fund. And so
Sure, or some of it.
I mean, you know, we have got to get to a point where we're looking more than 6 months down the road to fund these projects. We've known for years that we were gonna have to have a highway department. It's inexcusable that.
Oh, I agree.
That that there wasn't a cume fund set up for that, and we were putting money in, and it's not our fault. I mean, we
When I
didn't,
first come in, we did a cume fund. We started a cume fund. When I first come in 3.5 years ago, for the highway and the jail. We had a cume fund started.
Wasn't that
So-
within your lighted though?
yeah, that was just,
It wasn't, it was,
that was just a
yeah,
budget line, that's not a cume fund.
it
It's
wasn't.
10 o'clock, by the way. You
Yeah.
want a break?
Yep, let's take a break.
Okay.
I've got the,
You got the pledge.
I got the pledge.
Good man. There's that Eller name fella.
Pledge time.
Yes.